All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Channel 6 TV, Community Focus. We're counting down to November 6th, Tuesday, November 6th. That's Election Day. That's the day you get to go out and have your say and do your patriotic duty to select who you want to serve you for the next several years. And one of the people that's running for office, Mr. Jim Berry here, and he's wanted to ask for your vote for Nelson County Jailer. So first of all, Jim, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, thanks a lot.
I know you're out knocking on doors, doing all kinds of stuff, but you stop in here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I certainly am. And I've had a great time doing it. I'm taking off my $5 Goodwill jacket.
There you go.
So, and it really truly is. And what a great deal. So I'm going to take it around now. Maybe I won't lose this microphone here.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
Now, who's Jim Berry? Tell us a little bit about who Jim Berry is.
Well, Jim Berry is an old guy, but yet still in pretty darn good shape. And let's see here, a little college, actually pastored a church over in Renfro Valley, Buckeye Christian Church, back 45 years ago. And that was the first pastorate. Ended up at Whitewater Christian Church up in Whitewater, Indiana. And then we had a hitch in the Navy. And I'm thinking that's really probably, that discipline actually is what really changed my life. I wanted to go into the military because of the example of my family, my older brother and mom. My dad is a World War II vet who is a remarkable person who's 96 years of age, and he is still out running a mile a day. Now, recently, he broke his femur. And how he did that was a dog was coming after him, and he thought that he was still the martial arts expert that he was at 85 when he picked up his brown belt in Bashundo. He was kicking at this dog, and darn if he didn't get out of balance and fell down on that concrete. But he is rehabbing quite well, and he's out still walking around the marina using a cane and a walker. And so I went into the military. And the nice thing about this, you're Air Force, right? One of the first letters of accommodation I ever got was from an Air Force captain on a medevac flight. And so they originated out of Scott and flew down through Florida, and we used to transfer patients from hospitals of lesser capability to hospitals of greater capability. And so I was part of that. So I was honored about that. Military, I think finally was my wake-up call because I'd ridden in on my brothers and sisters, their intellect and their discipline long enough, and I'm glad that the military came along and finally got me straightened around. So, gee, I've been a business owner, and I've got 4 children of my own, and the eldest is a physician. And my second eldest is a school teacher. My third eldest is a X-ray tech. And my fourth one, named after my dad, Forrest, is a construction worker. And I've had one other child that I've helped raise, and he's a graduate of Center College over here. He works as a comptroller for an energy company. So I'm real proud of them. So. I'm really fortunate.
Well, now that you've finished taking care of the elderly and raising kids, now you decide you want to get into politics. So
I'm actually, gee, I don't even view it as politics. I don't know why it's a partisan position, actually.
It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. But that's another story, another day.
Yeah, I tell you what, this politics business is something else. Now, if you're elected, you are to represent the people and their wishes, regardless of how you feel about things yourself. But I think that I've spoken to enough people, I get a pretty good idea of where people are coming from. Now, there is a lot more good things going on at Nelson County Jail. In fact, that's where I'm employed right now. I've been for a number of years. And so let me say hi to some inmates there, because 9 out of 10 inmates are really good, decent people. Now, I get in trouble for saying that sometimes by my co-workers and things like this. Maybe I ought to toughen up a little bit. But I think that you know me well enough, Kenny, as a mechanic and as a military guy.
Well, I was going to say, as a minister, do you sort of feel like you're pastoring to them a little bit?
Everybody has a ministry. Everybody has a ministry. You've had your ministry. You've worked with United Way. that is a wonderful ministry. What you're doing right now is a ministry. Anytime that you help to make other lives more informed or better or richer in any fashion is your ministry. We all have our ministry.
That's true, that's true.
And so that's how I view it. Now, where a man's treasures are, you will find his heart also.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that I'm part of Optimist Club at one time. In fact, I'm a past honor president of Optimist Club. I'm proud to be part of Toastmasters. I'm proud of being part of the Chamber. I'm proud of being part of the American Legion. I know you are too. And so these are all things that take up a person's treasures, and that's where their heart is. Now, one thing that personally over the last couple of years that I've worked with are just one or two people, because you can spread yourself too thin. There's a World War II vet down close to Glasgow that I work with, and I think is a wonderful person. I'm afraid that his days are numbered. He's got dementia. But then there is somewhere closer to home here, a guy that has had a celebrated service in the Marine Corps, Vietnam vet, and I don't know if you've ever heard the expression a two-stepper, but he got bit in the lower leg. First time he got bit was right on the boot, and the second time it hit him right above the boot, or he probably wouldn't be among us.
No.
And they medevaced him out. So he's a man that has served with distinction. I'm glad to be part of trying to make a difference in his life. It's a wonderful life that he's had. But as you know, some people just get down on their luck. They even find themselves living in their car. They find themselves ill or in a hospital. Now you can actually make a difference in those people's lives. And I hope that everybody picks out, whether it be a relative or whatever, picks out somebody and tries to help them, because that's one way of gauging how well you're doing yourself, by how well you help others. And so I think that that's a big part of the jailer job. You hear rotten things about the jail. And I can tell you right now, most of them are true. Absolutely. But there's a whole lot more going on inside Nelson County Jail than what you've read in the paper and things like this. And most of it remains a secret because of privacy concerns and things like this. And we really just don't want to show our hand as to what's going on. Tell you the truth, you're dealing with people's lives. You're dealing with somebody's son, their daughter, their grandson. And so I think about those things when I think about inmates. I picture in my mind when I'm working in the control room, and any time during the night, there may be some crippled mom or grandmom, mother coming in with a $20 bill to stick it in an inmate's canteen fund. And so that inmate means something to that grandmother or mother or father or grandfather or sister or brother. And you know something? I need to respect that. And I need to treat that inmate in such a way. And as you know, you've been around long enough and in the military, if you take a heavy-handed approach to every single person that you meet, pretty soon you're going to get really disappointed, because no matter how bad you are and what kind of armament you may carry, you're always going to run into somebody else that's got you beat. There's always someone better than what you are. And so respect gets respect. And I believe that with inmates. Again, 9 out of 10 inmates, they're ignored because it's that 1 out of 10 that gets all the resources, gets all the newspaper attention, and things like this. But there's good medical going on. There are lives that are actually saved from my co-workers. One recent example would be a guy that was a reasonably or a relatively new hire. And here he is, a military vet, and he's making his rounds, and we've got 3 people taking care of, let's say, better than 150 inmates at one time. Now imagine that. 3 people taking care of 150 inmates on a second shift. So it's amazing that we don't have a whole heck of a lot of trouble. But anyway, it's because most people are decent that we don't, okay? Most people care. Most people realize what the guards go through as what the inmates go through. He's going around and he's making rounds and he sees that something's not quite right. He calls for another guard to go into that cell with him. And they find a guy that is really sick being propped up by another couple of inmates. And if it wasn't for them going in there and noticing and actually caring, it could have been a tragedy. Let me tell you. Do you read about that in the newspaper? Not hardly. Not hardly. Do you hear about the lives that are changed? Do you hear about the church services that take place from St. Monica to Jehovah's Witness? And do you hear about them coming in and ministering to people? Nope. Do you hear about educational classes going on at Nelson County Jail? Nope. But we have volunteers and we have people that are professional at it that come in and try to make a difference in people's lives. Now, it's a darn shame that we have to even focus on the weak points of Nelson County Jail. It's a darn shame because you keep on putting all your resources towards weakness. It's kind of like the old saying, if you're constantly working on your weaknesses, then all you end up with are strong weaknesses. Wouldn't it be nice to take those resources and work with your strengths?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I see it. And I think that that's what I would be as jailer. Yeah, I can do a lot of big talk. I can maybe even scare a few people. Scare them straight, perhaps. But I'm thinking that most people are decent. Let's take the low-hanging fruit, the ones that are neglected. Let's give them some direction. Let's make a difference in their lives, or try to, at least. Yeah. At least they'll go away knowing. I'm still learning some of the lessons that Dad tried to teach me before I was 18.
Yeah.
And it's just now coming home. It's just now making sense to me, Dad, type of thing. Do you have anything you'd like to ask? I know I've just been...
No, you're the best interviewee I've had yet. I don't have to ask a lot of questions.
Well, I tell you what.
I'm fascinated. Like I said, I think it's fascinating knowing what goes on. You're seeing firsthand what goes on in the jail every day and the good points of it. And I guess one of the questions I would ask, just leading into what you're saying, do you feel any of them come out of the jail a different person than they went in? Because I know we hear the stories that the same people are over and over and over in the jail. I mean, is there a way to stop that cycle?
Yes. Now, I can even spell this word, but I have a heck of a time saying it, okay? Recidivism.
I was going to say that, but I didn't have to say it.
Anyway, so I've been practicing that word all day, Kenny.
I haven't used it today, so.
I can tell you right now that, yes, there are lives being changed. But something you might be surprised of. Now, we've got 160 people there as of yesterday at Nelson County Jail. We still have 3 people on a shift. Really needs to have some changes made there, okay? And I'll try to check with the DOC, and I'll check with fiscal court and things like this, because a jailer has a lot of ability, can set the tone and the training and the direction of the jail, but they still have, anybody that says they're going to come in and change everything has not read the DOC policy manual.
Yeah, Department of Corrections.
That's right. And but on what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, there are people that change and that they have a difference in their life. At least that's as long as they're walking out that door. There's 2 things I want to say here. Remind me to mention a little more about what happens after they've left and gone for a little while. But let me tell you something. We need to get the community involved. I can tell you right now. I can tell you where my treasures are going to be. If I get elected jailer, my income goes up considerably. I'm thankful for that. I've got 14 grandbabies. I've got 2 that just entered IU here this fall, or coming up here just this August. So I need the money, yes, folks, but I can tell you where a lot of my resources are going to go. They're going to go to the people that have been loyal to the jail. And we have St. Monica. You know what? I can't think of a time that I've not met. Let's see here. This is how nervous I am. You know something? I was this nervous in a foxhole.
Not when you have an M16.
M16.
Microphone
that was-
sometime, man.
well, I tell you right now, that M16 was a rotten rifle. I tell you, don't get it dirty. That is for sure.
Yeah, I can attest to
Okay,
that one.
Hickman. Miss Hickman, I have never said a word to her that she didn't have something positive to say back to me.
Yeah.
She routinely, along with Mr. Boone, comes into the jail. The inmates are looking forward to that. That's a big thing. Jehovah's Witness comes in. In fact, some lady from better than 20 years ago that I used to work on their vehicle, she comes in to minister to the female inmates, and she recognized me, and I don't know how in the world she did that. But anyway, she looked the same, and I'm looking at her, I know that she must have felt, that guy's staring a hole in me. And, but yeah, I recognized her. They were good people, good customers. Bardstown's been so good to me. I've got a 348 prefix, by the way. That's how long I've been here, okay? Anyway, so these people make a difference. And yes, inmates are turned loose, and most of them believe, I'm never coming back to see you.
Yeah.
Here's the sad thing about this, is that we have inmates that have been there 50, 60, 70, 80 times plus. Okay, there's a few of them that even go over 100 times. And if we were to do a better job and get the community involved and only had inmates that came in less than 50 times, okay? So instead of having a census of 160, maybe we would only have a census of 80. In other words, we could cut it in half.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So how many times...
It's cheaper to build a new jail.
Yeah, I got some thoughts on that too, but they had their shot at that back in '95 when they spent tens of thousands of dollars making plans. They took it before the magistrates, say that 3 times real fast, and it got voted down because they were representing the constituents, I assume. And that jail was going to be built right there. In other words, take out the parking lot, put the employees across the street parking, and put it right there. And I don't know if it was 80 bed or 100 bed or something like this. Now they're talking about putting a jail over there, daydreaming, because it's 10 years down the road. I'll be gone out of the picture by then. And so whatever they want to do, get with DOC. I'll try to help in any way I can. But putting the jail over there close to the courthouse. Well, I tell you what, the sheriff's office, the courthouse, and then the jail, all right there. The fire department, all right there. We have an electrical outage or something like this. Or we have a catastrophe that blocks access and things like this to that one area. We've got all our chickens and chicken eggs in one basket right there. So I got different feelings about it, but again, I swear allegiance to the constituents in Nelson County. I swear to that, and I will do my best to serve them, as well as DOC, as well as physical court, and I'll be quite transparent. The other point that I wanted to make here, we need to change. When we get an inmate in, they may come in without a shirt. They may come in without underwear, for that matter. May come in with no shoes whatsoever. And daggone it, that's how we turn them loose. That is wrong. So St. Vincent's is high on my love them to pieces, contribute to them, because they do so much good work in the community here. In fact, St. Joe's and other people come in and try to minister and make a difference in inmates' lives. And we need more of that, not less. We need to set ourselves up for success, not failure. And only going through the administrative and the security things of the day, yes, that's the basics. You've got to get to that. But we need to expand. We need to staff it. We need to train. We need to separate that 1 out of 10, isolate them, and so we can bring structure to the other 9. And so that's what I'm saying. I think, and that's just about probably the ratio, that you've got a 1 out of 10 that mess it up for the other 9. And we find ourselves serving the most reluctant instead of serving...
A greasy wheel gets grease, as you always did say.
Yeah. I mean, what
Or is it the noisy wheel goes against the cut
Yes.
that. No. I don't.
Leave that in. Makes me look a little better, perhaps.
Me looking stupid always helps people.
I appreciate that, Kenny. I know that was
I did that for
intentional.
you. I did that for you.
Thank you. And not if you only contribute to my campaign. Well, you are.
You don't want my money. A little bit.
I was going to say, I haven't got any money left. Anyway, you know something? This is great that Nelson County, because you wouldn't be doing it if Nelson County wasn't interested in it. You wouldn't be having these interviews.
Right, exactly.
And so I know that there are a lot of people that will never meet me face to face, no matter how hard I try, no matter how far I go.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of people that never meet me. And so this is wonderful that I get a chance to talk to you. And is there anything else you want to ask
Well,
me
no,
about?
I know you. It's a tough job you got down there. I mean, I know you got to go in. You got to be frightened sometimes because anytime you're dealing with the criminal element, it's got to be. It's a tough job. I mean, it's got to be a tough job.
I tell you what, I go into a compartment. I know, Dorcas, you don't call them compartments, but I go into a cell that, I'm used to that Navy talk, compartment.
Yeah.
You go in and you may have 20, 25 inmates there. And I pity the poor person that takes a swing at me. I won't have to do anything. There'll be 10 on them right off the bat.
Yeah.
And so some of the best people and some of the smartest people and some of the best athletes that Nelson County has, unfortunately, have fallen through the cracks and they end up at Nelson County Jail. And that's the unfortunate thing about it. Some of these guys are really smart.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are very talented. Now, there are those that can't address an envelope. There are those that couldn't keep a checkbook. There are those that are addicted to drugs and things like this. And what we need to do is to give them the tools to change their life. Once they realize that they're not where they need to be, and it comes through self-awareness,
Yeah.
and then a desire to change, that's someone that you can work with.
Yeah.
You can give them structure. You can give them hope. You can give them continued support. You can give them a change of clothes.
Yeah.
And you can teach them skills because everything is learned. Honesty is learned. Dishonesty is learned. Everything about Jim and Kenny was learned. We were taught. And because these people haven't had the right lessons or paid attention to it until some DI threatened to put a boot against them, our company commander
Yeah.
working with me, or the fear of being left behind as a bosun's mate hanging off the side of a ship painting it underway, that scared me worse than being in a jungle somewhere.
That's worse than this interview.
Hey, Lisa, one more thing before I let you go.
Okay.
There are some things going on out there that are brand new programs. Now, I know that they keep on saying this is a brand new program, but there have been 8, 9, 10 issues, maybe even 11 issues. No, it says Volume 7, Issue 2. Don't believe it because there was a whole many more there. And the DOC finally here in the state of Kentucky has come up with a toolbox. And we belong to Region 2. And this is a second chance to make a first impression. How many times I say that to an inmate walking down the passageway and we're on the way to a visit or on the way to court or something like this, I say button up the collar and things like this because you'll never have a second chance to make a first impression. Well, I'll tell you what, DOC has come up with something here. A second chance to make a first impression. And there are a lot of good things in here, all the way from continuing education, honor comments, reentry services, expungement, even hygiene. The first, wealth, is health, cribs for kids, community outreach, even teddy bears for the kids. Reentry, simulation, libraries, and then there's even an expungement of record and things like this that the state is working on here. And we are part of Region 2. That's important business.
Okay.
I want to be telling you more about this on down the road.
Well, let's wrap it up here. Is there anything you want to say to the voters before they go to the polls?
Listen, I want you to go out and vote for me. A lot of people just say, hey, go out and vote. I don't care who you vote for. Yes, I do care. Please vote for me.
Hey, brother.
I even got a little prop right here. Listen, this is wonderful. Nelson County, thank you for listening. Inmates, take care. See you soon.
All right, Jim Berry running for Nelson County Jailer here in Nelson County. And that, again, that's on Tuesday, November 6th, is the day that you get a chance to go and have your say. So Jim had his say today, and it's your turn to say it back to him on Tuesday, November 6th.
Now, be kind.
There you go. Appreciate you being here today. I know you've been out there busy, so stick around. We'll be back in a few minutes with more on Community Focus right here on Channel 6 TV.